The Life of Che Guevara Act A. The Birth of a Rebel, Argentina, 1928–1948, June 14, 1928, Rosario, Argentina. Ernesto Guevara de la Serna is born, the oldest of 5 children, in a genteel, middle-class family with liberal, politically active parents. History: a baby boy with a fighting spirit from the very start. Almost immediately, doctors noticed something wrong, severe asthma. It will haunt him his entire life. His asthma leads the family to relocate near Córdoba, where the drier climate lessens his attacks. History: but young Ernesto refuses to let illness define him. His parents are intellectuals with a large library, allowing him to read avidly on a wide range of subjects. His father teaches him to play chess, and he takes part in local chess tournaments. The time lineage: teen years, 1940s. As a teenager, he begins to cultivate a political ideology and joins detractors of Argentine dictator June Pern. History: 1948, Buenos Aires. Guevara enters the University of Buenos Aires to study medicine. History: he is brilliant, driven, but the classroom cannot contain him for long. Act E. The Road That Changed Everything, South America, 1915–1953, 1950, solo ride across Argentina. He travels solo across northern Argentina on a makeshift motorcycle, a small engine attached to a bicycle. History: the poverty he sees disturbs him deeply. January 1952, the epic journey begins. Together with his friend Alberto Granada, she makes an 8,000 tour of South America, visiting Argentina, Chile, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Venezuela, Panama, and Florida. The time lineage: scene after scene of heartbreak, miners coughing in copper mines, indigenous workers treated like slaves, entire families starving while foreign companies grow rich. He is angered by the poverty and poor working conditions of laborers and miners. He considers their plight to be the result of capitalism, where the wealthy exploit the poor. The time lineage: this journey later becomes his memoir, and the 2004 film The Motorcycle Diaries. On March 1953, Doctor of Medicine, he completes his medical degree and becomes a fully qualified doctor. The time lineage: but he has no interest in a comfortable private practice. The revolution is calling. Act D. Finding the Cause, Bolivia, Guatemala, Mexico, 1953–1955, late 1953, Central America. Guevara travels through Bolivia, Peru, Ecuador, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, and El Salvador. The time lineage: everywhere he goes, he sees the same story. Poor workers harvesting fruit for giant American companies while living in misery. On December 24, 1953, Guatemala. Guevara arrives in Guatemala, then under the reformist government of President Jacobo Arbenz, who is trying to reduce poverty by redistributing land. History of Cuba: he falls in love both with the revolution and with a Peruvian economist named Hilda Guedia, a leftist exile, who introduces him to Marxist thinkers and Cuban revolutionaries. On June 1954, the CIA strikes. American forces invade Guatemala, and President Arbenz is forced to resign. The new regime begins rounding up and executing opponents. Hilda Guedia is arrested, and Guevara seeks sanctuary in the Argentine embassy. The time lineage: this moment shatters him and forges him. The CIA-assisted overthrow convinces Guevara that the United States will always oppose progressive leftist governments. This becomes the cornerstone of his plans to bring about socialism through worldwide revolution. It is in Guatemala that Guevara becomes a dedicated Marxist. Encyclopedia Britannica, September 21, 1954, Mexico City. Guevara arrives in Mexico City. History of Cuba: he works as a doctor but spends his nights reading Marx, Lenin, and meeting exiled revolutionaries, a rebel still searching for his cause. Act It. The Meeting That Changes History, Mexico City, 1955, June 1955 in Mexico City, Icoops, a Cuban veteran arranges for Guevara to meet Raul Castro. History of Cuba, July 7, 1955, the fateful night Fidel Castro arrives in Mexico. That same month, Fidel and Guevara meet, and that very night, Guevara joins the revolutionary effort. History of Cuba, Guevara said his first discussion with Castro centered on world politics. After a few hours by dawn, I had already embarked on the future expedition, Guevara recalled. Fidel impressed me as an extraordinary man. There was a lot to do, to fight for, to plan. We had to stop crying and start fighting. History. Two men, completely different personalities, one impulsive, the other thoughtful, one emotional and optimistic, the other cold and skeptical, one attached only to Cuba, the other linked to a framework of social and economic concepts. History. Together they would shake the world. 1955 He also marries Hilda Guevara, and they have a daughter, Hilda, born in 1956. Acting. The Cuban Revolution, Cuba, 1956–1959, November 25, 1956, The Voyage from Tuxpan, Mexico. 82 men leave for Cuba aboard the yacht Granma. History of Cuba. They are cramped, seasick, determined. December 2, 1956 Disaster on the beach. The Granma reaches a beach called Las Coloradas in Cuba's Orient province. The Red Bulls are immediately attacked by Batista's troops and must scatter into the woods. Many men are killed and Guevara is wounded. History of Cuba, December 21, 1956. Fidel Castro's and Guevara's group reunite. Of the 82-man invasion force, only 15 fighters remain. History of Cuba. From those 15 men, a revolution will be born. 1957–1958, the Sierra Maestra. For 2 years, she leads guerrilla columns through the jungle mountains. He is ruthless, brilliant, feared by enemies, respected by his men. He writes about every battle in a detailed diary. August 31, 1958, Guevara leads his troops from the Sierra Maestra toward Las Vegas province in central Cuba, marching westward to cut the island in half. History of Cuba, December 1958, the Battle of Santa Clara. Guevara's column joins forces with other revolutionary groups to capture a series of towns in Las Vegas province, effectively cutting the island in two. History of Cuba. Batista's regime collapses. January 1, 1959, 20 Batista, his family, and his closest associates board a plane at Camp Colombia and flee the island. Revolutionary forces take control of Havana. History of Cuba, January 2, 1959, Guevara and Camilo Cienfuegos arrive triumphantly in Havana. History of Cuba. Crowds go wild. The revolution has won. Act by Power in Havana, Cuba, 1959–1965, January 2, June 12, 1959, Commander of La Caba. Castro names Guevara commander of La Caba Fortress Prison. He is charged with purging the Batista army and consolidating victory by exacting revolutionary justice. Wikipedia. Hundreds are tried. Many are executed. This period remains his most controversial. February 9, 1959, Guevara is declared a Cuban citizen by birth, an extraordinary honor for an Argentine. History of Cuba, November 26, 1959, Guevara is appointed president of the National Bank of Cuba. History of Cuba. A guerrilla fighter now controls the nation's money supply. 1959, new love. He divorces Hilda Guevara and marries Aleida March, a Cuban revolutionary. They will have 4 children together. March 7, 1960, the iconic photographer Alberto Cordes snaps a photograph of Che at a Havana memorial. It will become the most famous photograph in the world. October 7, 1959, Minister of Industry, lacking any managerial training, he is nevertheless named head of Cuba's central bank and later Minister of Industries. He calls for diversification of the Cuban economy and the elimination of material incentives. He leads by example, working endlessly at his ministry job, in construction, and even cutting sugar cane. December 11, 1964, the on-speech, Guevara addresses the United Nations General Assembly, expressing support for oppressed peoples around the world. Westport Library, the whole world is watching. He is at the peak of his international fame, but inside, he is restless. Cuba feels too small. The whole world needs revolution. Act Vi. Into the Darkness, Congo and Bolivia, 1965–1967, October 3, 1965. The Farewell Letter. Castro publicly reveals a letter written by Guevara in which he reaffirms his solidarity with the revolution but declares his intention to leave Cuba to fight abroad. He resigns from all government positions, the Communist Party, and renounces his honorary Cuban citizenship. Wikipedia. He disappears. The world wonders, where is Chet? 1965, the Congo mission. Guevara secretly travels to the Congo to support a rebel uprising. The mission is a failure. The local fighters are disorganized. Support never arrives. He leaves disillusioned. November 4, 1966, Bolivia. Under a disguise, using a fake name and passport, Guevara arrives in Bolivia. History of Cuba. He wears glasses, shaves his beard. Nobody recognizes him. He is 38 years old. His asthma worse than ever. On November 7, 1966, Guevara arrives at the rebel camp in Bolivia and makes the first entry into his Bolivian diary. History of Cuba. December 31, 1966, Guevara meets with Bolivian Communist Party Secretary Mario Monge. The two men disagree sharply on the details of the guerrilla campaign. History of Cuba. He is alone, isolated, without real allies. On March-April 1967, early victories. March 23, Just Column wins its first battle. April 10, Guevara successfully ambushes Bolivian troops. History of Cuba. Brief hope, but the jungle is closing in. The Bolivian peasants don't join him. The CIA is hunting him. Castro sends no rescue. Fidel did not send Che to his death in Bolivia. He simply allowed history to run its course. Biographer George Casteda concluded. Act Vi. The En La Higuera, Bolivia, October 1967, October 8, 1967, El Euro revive. The Bolivian Rangers capture Guevara. He is wounded. A CIA officer is present. History. He is taken to a tinny schoolhouse in the village of La Higuera. He sits on the dirt floor, hands tied, breathing hard from his asthma. October 9, 1967, 110. On the order of the military high command, Guevara is executed in La Higuera. Photos of his slain body are made public, and his hands are severed and delivered to Cuba to confirm his identity. History. His last reported words to his executioner: "Shoot, coward, you are only going to kill a man." He is 39 years old. Epilogue. The Legend. 1967 Forever. 1967 1997. The Secret Grave. The site of Guevara's burial is kept secret for 30 years. History. 1997. The return. A skeleton believed to be his and the remains of 6 comrades are disinterred from a mass grave near Valle Grande, Bolivia, transported to Cuba, and reinterred in a memorial monument in Santa Clara. Encyclopedia Britannica. the city he liberated in 1958. A Today Time magazine names Guevara one of the 100 most influential people of the 20th century. The Alberto Korda photograph of him, Guerrillero Heroico, is cited as the most famous photograph in the world. Wikipedia. A doctor who became a soldier who became a symbol that outlived every government he ever fought, until victory,